Hi everyone, Trina here, and this will be 4.1 of the Return of the Divine Sophia. And I really am enjoying this information because I know for me, with just our systems, and even though I didn't go to church, the whole system that I was around my entire life was patriarchal and Christian fundamentally, and I completely lost my connection with the divine feminine. And I think that's just common for most of us because of how we've been raised and indoctrinated into the current world of conditions that we now sit in. And this is such a beautiful part of what we are, and is such a beautiful part of God that we've definitely been directed not to see or look at. So most of us were never taught about the existence of our Divine Mother, let alone a Divine Daughter. But since all of these forces in the cosmos always have a complementary aspect, this would certainly make sense. Where there is a father, there is also a mother. If there is a son, there most certainly must be a daughter. Does it not seem odd that we have been so conditioned by our patriarchal filters that we do not even question this anymore? Especially when even knowing that biology dictates that it must have both sexes to create life. The Virgin of the World. The Apocryphon of John 2:9-14 relates a very powerful story about the Apostle John, who became grief-stricken after the crucifixion. In his sorrow, John was given a vision, and the heavens opened up, and the whole of creation, which is under heaven, shone, and the world trembled. And I was afraid, and I saw in the light a likeness with multiple forms. And the likeness had 3 forms. And when John asked, "Who is it?" the vision replies, "John, why do you doubt? And why are you afraid? I am the one who is with you always. I am the Father. I am the Mother. I am the Son." We learn more about this triple aspect in the Trimorphic Protennoia, a writing found among the Nag Hammadi texts. Protennoia is defined as the thought of the Father, the one born first of all beings, the one with 3 names, who exists alone as one. She dwells at all levels of the universe. She is the revealer who awakens those who sleep, who utters a call to remember, who saves, who brings to the fallen world of morality a salvation through knowledge and the 5 seals. Interesting. 5 seals. 5 seals of the senses. Then they write, I am she who exists before the all. I move in every creature. I am the invisible one within the all. I am both mother and father, since I procreate myself. I am the womb that gives shape to the all. I am the glory of the mother. This is the Virgin of the world, the self-created one. This is the picture Patricia shows. Isn't it beautiful? It looks like it's sitting in a pear. This is the Virgin of the world, the self-created one, who gives birth to the cosmos. I suddenly understood why there had been such an emphasis placed on the virgin birth in the scriptures. The Virgin is the Divine Mother, linked to the birth of the world Savior. But she is also the Creator herself, who gave birth to both the Divine Father and Mother, who in turn gave birth to the Divine Daughter and Son. Historically, we find references to such virginal queens in the stories of heroes such as Hercules, Perseus, Horus, and Arjuna, whose fathers were thought to be gods in the celestial realms. However, the real significance of the Virgin Mother is she who brings the universe into being by herself. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, a Gnostic gospel that contains 250 separate sayings attributed to Mary Magdalene, Mary teaches, we have Father and we have Mother. For God is our Father and our Mother, though indeed the Most High is beyond the Father or the Mother. There is no knowledge of the Father apart from the Mother, for it is the Mother Spirit who gives birth to the image of the Son, in whom the living Father is revealed. So also shall Mother Spirit give birth to the image of the daughter, so that this image of the Son would be perfect, and the revelation of God Most High made complete. Mary goes on to say, one who knows the Mother is near to the Father, but one who denies the Mother is far from the Father. There is not two, but only one God, and God is both Mother and Father. If you blaspheme the Mother Spirit, there will be no one to save you, for she is the Spirit of salvation and your very life. Mary also speaks about the Divine Mother's many manifestations in the various planes. It was with the risen Savior and beheld the Mother. In the first heaven, she was the radiant earth of paradise. In the second heaven, she was the starry night sky. In the third heaven, she was the great fire. In the fourth heaven, she was the great angel and celestial temple and the holy sacrifice. Wow. When I beheld her in the fifth heaven, she was the glory of the anointed abiding there in the sixth heaven. She was fire and ice and the end of days. In the seventh heaven, she was the great luminous assembly of the holy throne and the image of the one who sits upon the throne. But in the supernal abode, I cannot say what she was like. One must go and look for themselves. In the past century, several new gospels have surfaced that expressed these same fundamental concepts. The Humane Gospel of Christ. These Gospels, the unknown life of Jesus Christ, the Gospel of the Holy 12, and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene all of which have a powerful discovery stories, but I will only share 2 of them in this chapter. The discovery of the Humane Gospel of Christ first came about through the research of a highly respected British scholar, Professor John Marco Allegro. Allegro was on the original translation team of the 8 scholars who performed the editorial work on the Dead Sea Scrolls. A scholar of both ancient, Aramaic, and Hebrew, Allegro taught courses on the Old Testament at the University of Manchester in England, and his credentials were exemplary. However, during his many years of translation on the Dead Sea Scrolls, Allegro became aware of the Jesuits' agenda of suppression, wanting to preserve the integrity of one of the most important of these 3 Gospels. He smuggled the Humane Gospel of Christ out of the Vatican, essentially ending his own career. But the importance of this scroll to him was worth it, for the Gospel purportedly contained the unedited teachings of Jesus himself. The Gospel was written in both ancient Aramaic and Hebrew, like the other Dead Sea Scrolls, and once Allegro had finished his translations into English, he sought a channel for bringing this information to light. He selected a Jehovah's Witness named Frank Mucci, hoping that these teachings would make their way out into the world through his church. But in the years following the Gospel's release, Mucci himself was actively persecuted by other Christian groups who wanted to keep this information secret. To preserve this Gospel, Mucci founded the Edenite Society in 1979, and he published a limited edition of what has since become known as the Humane Gospel of Christ. Now, since the death of Professor Allegro, no one knows exactly where the original scroll is hidden, so the legitimacy of these writings can no longer be proven. However, the Humane Gospel is similar to other Gnostic Gospels in both substance and style. In it we find Jesus speaking about this, the same Divine Mother and Father. Truly, I say unto you, God is neither male nor female, and yet both are one. And God is the 2 in 1. He is she, and she is he, the eternal all. Our God is perfect and complete and lacks nothing. Our God is infinite and one. For as in the man, the Father is manifest, and in the mother hidden, so in the woman, the mother is manifest, and the Father is hidden. Therefore I say unto ye, shall the name of the Father and the Mother be equally hallowed and reverenced, for they are great powers of God, and one is not without the other, and the other in the one infinite God. For from the all-parent cometh forth all life and glory, male and female both, yea, for the eternal all. The first Father bringeth forth every kind of life into existence, and he is in them all, and they are all in him. Holy 12, 63, 2 and 3. 2 through 3. The unknown life of Jesus Christ. The discovery of the unknown life of Jesus Christ came about through the research of Nicholas Notovich, a Russian journalist who journeyed through the Kashmir of India and Tibet. At the close of the Russian-Turkish War in 1877 through 1878, Notovich passed through Afghanistan, India, in Punjab, moving towards Ladakh, the high mountainous area between India and Tibet. There he had heard rumors of some secret records that chronicled the teachings of Jesus. These writings were said to be hidden in a Buddhist monastery in Himis, a very remote area of Ladakh. Determined to find them, Notovich climbed some 11,000 feet above sea level to finally arrive at the remote monastery. At first, the High Lama told Notovich that he had no knowledge of these writings, but as fate would have it, Notovich fractured his leg after leaving the monastery, and when he was carried back to the monastery to recover, during the many weeks of his convalescence, he won the trust of the head Lama, who finally allowed him to see a copy of the lost records. In 1894, Notovich published a small but important book called The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ. According to that, according to Notovich, it was written only 3 or 4 years after Jesus' death. It had been stored at Himis Monastery for nearly 2,000 years to protect it from those who wanted these teachings all destroyed. This short but amazing account shares passages not found in other Gospels. The Lama told Notovich, Isa, Jesus, is a great prophet, one of the first after the 22 Buddhas. He is greater than any of the Dalai Lama, for he constitutes a part of the spirituality of the Lord. His name and his deeds have been recorded in our sacred writings, and whilst the readings of his great existence spent in the midst of erring people, we weep over the horrible sin of the pagans who assassinated him after putting him into the most cruel tortures. The Lama's references here was to both the Jewish and the Romans. Both were heathens in his eyes. Enter into your temple, Jesus tells us in the Gospel, into your own heart. Illuminate it with good thoughts, patience, and the unflinching confidence that you should place in your Father. For God has created you in his image, innocent, pure of soul, with heart filled with kindness, and destined not to the conception of evil projects, but to be the sanctuary of love and justice. Jesus also speaks about the importance of honoring women, a teaching that was obviously excised from our New Testament Gospels. Respect woman, for she is the mother of the universe, and all truth of divine creation dwells within her. She is the basis of all that is good and beautiful, as she is also the germ of life and death. On her depends the entire existence of man, for she is his moral and natural support in all his works. She gives you birth amid sufferings. By the sweat of her brow, she watches over you, over your growth, and until her death, you cause her the most intense anguish. Bless her and adore her, for she is your only friend and support upon the earth. Respect her, protect her, and in doing this, you will win her love and her heart, and you will be pleasing to God. For this shall many of your sins be remitted. Therefore, Love your wives and respect them, for tomorrow they shall be mothers, and later grandmothers of a whole nation. Be submissive toward your wife. Her love ennobles man. It softens his hardened heart, tames the beast, and makes of it a lamb. Just as the God of armies separates day from night and the land from the waters, so woman possesses the divine talent of separating good intentions from evil thoughts in men. Therefore I say to you, after God, your best thoughts should belong to women and to wives, women being to you the divine temple, wherein you shall most easily obtain perfect happiness. Draw your moral strength from this temple. There you will forgive your sorrows, your failures. You will recover the wasted force necessary to help your neighbor. Do not expose her to humiliation. You will thereby humiliate yourself and lose the sentiment of love, without which nothing exists here below. Protect your wife, that she may protect you and all of your family. All that you shall do for your mother, your wife, for your widow, or another woman in distress, you shall have done for God. Imagine a world that had actually honored all of these teachings over the past 2,000 years. What a different world it would have made. Even today, if men actually began to treat their wives, sweethearts, daughters, and sisters with the same privileges, dignity, freedom, and respect that they claim for themselves, it would utterly transform our world. The discovery of these sacred texts about the Divine Mother and the Father confirmed my own experiences with Regal and Ariel. My guides had long ago explained to me that they were the Father and the Mother of creation. We have been known by many names on many worlds, they said, but we were always one and the same. We are the eternal movement of the great cosmic ocean, the source and the beginning of life, the substance and the essence of creation itself. We live in you, and you live in us. And the pathway of your journey leads straight to the heart of the union. Well, that is the end of chapter 16. Next, we will be getting into the divine son and daughter. I love this information. It so supports the fullness of creation that I saw, and the explanation how all of this was created from intercourse, sexual unions, intercourse of water, and the intercourse that is required in this creation point is mother and father, and that produces the son, or the spark, or the matter made manifest. Without father, we don't have the spark. Without mother, we don't hold the womb. So one without another in this reality could never be, not in a dualistic system of day and night, dark and hot, love and hate. Within the polarity of this system, all is dual, and within the highest level of our creation, it always returns to the one. So within the one, the duality exists within the one. So we are masculine, we are feminine, And as we have been birthed, we now choose whether to be expressing as the Son. And that is when you unite Mother and Father within your own heart and within your own mind, and you anchor it in this planet, knowing you are Christ. So I love you guys. I hope you guys like this information, because I sure do, and it just resonates with everything I've always been shown. God is everything, and through that all, everything has to be included. Nothing can be left out, and that goes for all of it. That's why God is responsible for the creation of evil, because God is also responsible for the creation of love. So everything is existing in its opposite polarity, but within that polarity of that opposite, it couldn't be existing without its central point, which that central point is the I Ching that holds all of it, and it grows forth from that, one going in a negative polarity, one going in a positive. And that doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. It means pull or push. So look at it that way sometimes. Negative doesn't always mean negative. Negative also means I'm drawing towards me. I'm pulling it in. And then when you think of Father, you think of Son, you think of emanation. I'm sending it forth. I'm radiating it outward. So it's just different aspects of creation. Sometimes we need to pull things in, and sometimes we need to send things out. It depends on the energy that we're utilizing or working with. Sometimes when you're working with people and supporting them in their processes, sometimes we need to learn to draw, and sometimes we need to send. And it depends on what's happening within the polarity of that unique being. So like I said, all of these dances of polarity are all required. So when you understand that everything must be present for us to truly be able to see the all, then you start to lose judgment over all of it, because you just understand its purpose and its function within duality itself. So learning how to blend and marry our polarities within us is kind of as simple as merging creativity with logic, thought with intuition, reason with inspiration. So it's the balancing of both parts of the mind and balancing both parts of your heart too. And all of that is this beautiful dance of polarity that we are currently in. And through this polarity, this is how we have the ability to transmute and go from one end of the scale to the other instantaneously. Without those positions, we wouldn't be able to transmute. So within those positions of opposition and polarity, this is where we get movement. And through movement is where we have different positions, because at this point you're all the way to this, and at this point you're all the way to this side, and then all the movements in between make the fullness of the spectrum of that one perspective, that one thought. So this polarity that we have here is so beautiful once you can start to see it for its value. And when you can truly embrace and start to understand that all of this is necessary, so in essence none of it is wrong and none of it is bad. It's literally just part of what is. And when you can embrace this, it literally you start to lose judgment. And man, that is a gift for you that no one can give for you. And it is a freeing tool, because when you lose judgment, when you die and they try to cast judgment at you, it won't work. It won't work, because you'll see. You'll be like, nope. I know that has to be there. I may not understand why fully, but I do understand it needs to be there. So I'm not condemning it or judging it. I know it has its purpose and its function. And just because it doesn't resonate with me, does not by any means support the fact that it does not need to exist, because somebody else needs that part. They need that part. Just because I don't, it doesn't mean it's not needed. It's needed. And man, that was a freeing thing for me when I started to really understand that. And that really helped me embrace my dark side. And when I embraced my dark side, that's when I started to see that, holy smack, that's the part of you that keeps you safe. That is one of the most important parts of you, is your darkness. Your darkness can protect, it can heal, it can be fearless, it can know, because in those states of adrenaline, wow, you have access to a lot of things within you that you normally don't. So embrace your darkness and know that your darkness is one of your greatest assets to keep you safe. And the darkness is also the dark recesses of your mind. This is where your greatest treasures are stored, because they are within your subconscious mind through all of the memories of all of the existences that you've had. And in those treasure boxes is where all the skills that you've mastered over eons of time are sitting waiting for you to rediscover, so you can express them and bring them forth, because you have a cellular memory to these things. You just haven't accessed them yet. But as soon as you can access them, you'll start to be drawn to these things. You'll start to be just guided to go to these attributes or these aspects, or painting or math, whatever it is, whatever these tools, learning how to make things, whatever these tools are that you've learned, you'll start to find the reality will start to bring you these things, so you can choose them. You don't have to, but you can. And when you make a conscious choice to come back into an awareness of these old hidden latent talents and gifts that you've spent a long time learning, they will develop very, very fast, because you've already earned it, you've already mastered it. And now it's about getting the muscle memories activated in this avatar. You have the memory of it, but it's not yet in your muscle tissues, because you need to anchor it into your flesh. And through the anchoring of it into the flesh and doing this task, or doing whatever this skill is, and practicing this, you will pick up on it really, really fast. But nonetheless, it still has to be brought into the physical body from out of the cellular memory. So that's part of how we manifest here from heaven to earth. Our cellular matrix is connected to the crystalline grid, which is your source projection mode. So your crystalline information that's coming down from your quasi-crystal into your body, even though the information is being accessed, it has to get anchored into your tissue. And that is through doing. And that is through feeling the feeling. And that's how it works. It's all about the feeling. The feeling is the prayer. The feeling is how we manifest it. We anchor it through emotion, because emotion is energy in motion. So now it's not just energy as thought, it's energy as manifest. And you literally bring it into the construct, and you then gain that and bring it into this reality. And this truly is bringing heaven to earth. And this is why we came. We came to remember what we are, embrace the gifts and talents that we've spent eons of time mastering, and embracing each other through that process, and helping each other navigate and reconnecting with that which is truly us, which is our connection to God. And God is all. So I love you guys. I will see you very soon on the next one, and we will pick up on the son and the daughter. And I think that's going to be some beautiful information, because we are those sons and daughters. So I love you, family. See you on the next one, and thank you for being in my soul tribe. And I love riding this ride with you, and you guys are the most beautiful, happiest frequency I've been able to connect to in a very long time. So thank you for the good vibrations, and may they grow. Much love. See you soon. Bye.